Do you ever find yourself daydreaming about where your music could take you? I used to a lot, but here's the thing. Without a concrete plan in place, you will never get there. Over the last 3 years, I've figured out a 3-step game plan on how to turn those dreams into reality. Just a few years ago, things felt very blurry. I was kind of lacking direction on where I wanted to go with music, and I didn't have something to work on, a vision to work on every single day. You could say I was kind of lost, but after applying the 3-step process into my life, my vision became crystal clear. I had something to work towards every single day, and if you follow this process as well, you will dominate 2024. So let's jump right in. Step 1, defining your high-level goal. What do you want to achieve in 2024? Do you want to get in better shape? Do you want to have a gold album release? Do you want to chart on Billboard? Just take a minute, pause this video and just think about it. What would your dream life look like? What do you value as a person? For example, I couldn't care less about materialistic things and cars. I don't really need that, even though everyone is pushing it into your face on a daily basis on social media. So just think to yourself, what is important to me and what do I want to achieve? Now I want you to write down all of those things and put them into chronological order, the most important on top, the least important at the bottom. Now be extremely specific. Your goals shouldn't look like I want to get in better shape. Your goals should be I want to gain 10 kg of muscle, or I want to lose 5 kg of fat. Now what I want you to do is to cross out all the goals you've written down besides the top 2, because I came to realize that the reason why you don't achieve your 2 most important goals are the less important goals. You have to have clear focus and direction on what you want to achieve. I mean, who do you think accomplished their goals? The person who has 5 to 10 goals and their attention is widespread between all of them, or the person who is laser focused on 1 to 2 goals? In my experience, bro, you can only grow in 2 areas of your life at one time. This doesn't mean you can't maintain certain things. For example, if you already are in good shape, you don't need to invest hours on end in the gym to maintain that physique. But if we're talking about really making changes and growing extremely far, you can only really focus on 1 to 2 things. Step 2 of the game plan is what I call reverse engineering. Ask yourself, what actions do you need to take on a daily or weekly basis to achieve your dreams? For example, if you want to lose weight, your daily actions could be intermittent fasting, and your weekly actions could be I go to the gym 3 times a week. And you don't have to have everything figured out right now. Just write down as best as you can, and you can always adjust along the way. So remember that an imperfect plan combined with consistent action will always beat a perfect plan combined with inconsistent action. An example for this is if your goal is to lose fat, start having the weekly and daily goals of going to the gym 3 times a week and skipping breakfast every morning. Now, after a few months, you may realize that you can do more, or that what you're doing isn't quite working, so you adjust. So maybe you go to the gym 4 times a week and you do 10k steps every day. You can always adjust along the way. The most important thing is that you just get started now. Now, after we have defined the things you need to do in order to achieve your goals, you have to ask yourself, what person do you have to become in order to pull this off? See, in life, we don't achieve dreams and goals, brother. We achieve identities. Money, platinum plaques, and all that good stuff is just a byproduct of the person you are becoming. And to get what you want in life, you have to become a person who is capable of getting those things. So now write down what that person would be like. What habits, what character traits does that person have? Just write them all down. An easy trick if you're now struggling to find character traits, to find habits, just write down all the bad habits and things you're doing now that you know you shouldn't do. And don't lie to yourself. We all have those things we do that we know we shouldn't do. And to get to the core of this, just invert them, meaning write down the opposite of them. And when you have designed the person you have to become and the goals you want to achieve, we need to talk about visualization. Basically what it does, every time you see yourself achieving the goal, every time you see yourself acting in accordance with the person you want to become, you start more and more thinking that it's real. Because the interesting thing is that your subconscious mind, which makes up around 90% of your brain power, cannot differentiate between a real experience and an experience just manufactured in your head. You might ask yourself now, why is this even effective? And it's because experiences, either real or imagined, influence your thoughts. And your thoughts start leading to beliefs. And your actions will always align with your beliefs. And if you take the actions required, you will get to the reality you want. A simple example for this is every time I think about eating a steak, or every time I eat a steak, I have real and imagined experiences which influence my thoughts. I start thinking, hey, I really like steak. And what that leads to is me believing I love steak. And after a while, this belief that I love steak is deeply ingrained into my identity, and my actions start to be in accordance with that. So I eat more steak every single week. And then after a while, you live in the reality that you eat more steak. And this has nothing to do with like woo-woo, law of attraction, universe stuff. All it does is it simply changes your beliefs, which is the most powerful thing ever. Step number 3, tracking progress. After you've established what you need to do on a week-to-week basis, we need to find a way to track. I always use Google Calendar to schedule out my week on Sunday evening in advance, to just be sure that I always get the things done. And having those systems like Google Calendar in place is so important, because you have to remember, it's not my discipline that keeps me going. It's the systems and routines that I have in place. And I learned that very recently when I was moving a lot here in Thailand, from Airbnb to hotel to hotel to Airbnb. And every time I lived in a new space, my discipline almost got to 0. Meaning I wouldn't do the work required and I would waste a lot of time, but only until I've established a new routine and new habits to follow in the new environment. And those routines and scheduling out your week in advance will give you so much more mental clarity on your vision, because you don't have to consciously think about every day what you have to do today. So it's way easier to do the hard stuff, because just imagine you just woke up and you needed to plan your day. Where would you put the hard things? Exactly, if you're in the moment, your mind will always come up with excuses as of why you can't do the things. So just planning it out a couple days ahead will get your ego and emotionality out of the way, so you can plan it in whenever it needs to get done. And that's all there is to it. That's my trick on how I get things done. Now the last but arguably the most important point of this video is I want you to link your success to the inputs and not the outputs. This means if your goal is getting on a gold album, that's your output. And earlier you've decided that you have to do 20 loops a week to get to that goal. So I want you to shift your mindset from achieving that gold album to, as long as I do the 20 loops a week, I am successful. No matter if you have a gold album or not yet. And this will save your mental health, because you don't beat yourself up about things you can't control. And you also get into a winning attitude, and you start radiating that confidence into the world, because you're always winning. See, it's very easy to win if it's on you, because you have control over what you do. There's a reason why the Stoics always say only focus on what you can control. And that winning feeling and that confidence you start building up over the months will spill over into every single area of your life. An example for me is that a couple of years ago I would have never recorded a YouTube video like that. I just wouldn't have the confidence to do it. I just would be coming up with bullshit as of why I couldn't do it. Now I'm doing 2 to 3 to 4 videos a week. I would love to see you crush 2024, bro, but now it's up to you to make it happen. You have all the tools you need to design your future version and go after it. If you're still struggling with money, here's a video on how a 9 to 5 can actually help you achieve your goals.